Yoga, Monday yoga. Oh, I can hear it in here.
It's a little echoey.
A little bit?
It's a little bit. It's better than the other one.
Alright, that's okay. Let me turn off my sound so it's not echoing in the background. Say something weird like I usually do.
Okay, you're up.
Alright, hello, happy Monday. We have a new mic in here, so we're going to test that out. So if it is a little bit echoey, just bear with us. We'll work out those kinks next week. So today is a hips and hamstrings yoga class, so I'm really going to be focusing on the lower body, along with the lower back. As always, if you want to add something in, you can just write down in the comments or just write down in the group messages anything that you want to focus on or work on, and we will take that into account next week. So today, all you really need is your mat, some space in your room. I grabbed a couple of blocks just because my hips and hamstrings are a little tight this week from the gym. But if you would like, you can grab a set of books if you don't have blocks at home, or 2 small pillows. Those work just fine as well. So if you want, you can go ahead and set up your own music in your house. If you want to add a little tone to it, we don't play music during this class, so that's completely up to you. So we're going to start today in child's pose, bringing the knees nice and wide to the mat. The 2 big toes will come to touch, and we're going to extend the arms out on the mat, coming down, forehead will come down, and just go ahead and extend and relax here. So just start to take deep breaths in and out through the nose. Letting the hips start to melt back towards the heels. Starting to maybe walk the fingertips out a little bit further towards the top of the mat, starting to build some length inside the body. Taking one more deep breath in here. And side out. Just go ahead and start to walk the hands over to the right side, placing the left hand on top of the right, anchoring the hips down towards the heel, finding length in the side body. Taking just a couple breaths here, again, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Maybe on your inhale, just think about opening and expanding the ribs. One more breath in. And then as you exhale, walk the hands back through center, and we'll just shift them over to the opposite side, maybe placing the right hand on top of the left. Again, lengthening through the side body, creating that space. Taking a deep breath in through the nose. And exhale out. And again, a deep breath in. Side out. And just one more deep breath in. And as you exhale, just walk the hands back through center. Maybe they come out a little bit further onto the mat, and relax the forehead down. Just taking a minute here, maybe rocking back and forth on the forehead. And then when you're ready, we're going to walk the hands back towards the knees, sitting up on the heels. You can keep the knees nice and wide. But if this is discomforting to you, you can always bring the knees together, and you're always welcome to tuck the toes and sit on a block if that's a little bit too much. Otherwise, maybe keep the knees wide today, bringing the hands on top of the thighs, rolling the shoulders back, and just go ahead and drop your right ear to your right shoulder. Keeping the chest lifted up. And roll the chin to chest. Left ear, left shoulder. Think about drawing your shoulder blades back and down. And chin to chest. And go ahead and bring that nose back up through center. This time we're going to extend the left arm up and over the head, and then just gently lean over to the opposite side. You can take your right hand and just bring it across the body to the left thigh. Think about reaching and lengthening. We're going to stretch out that side body once again. Maybe looking up underneath that left arm. Taking a few deep breaths in, and we're going to go a little bit more dynamic here. So on your next inhale, reach up towards the ceiling, and then as you exhale, extend back over. Inhale, lift up and lengthen. Keep that tallness in the body. Exhale, shift over. Last one, inhale, lift up, lengthen. And exhale, reach. Lifting it back up through center, we'll switch sides. Left hand comes across the body, grabs the right thigh. Right arm will extend up towards the ceiling. On your inhale, reach up, find that length in the ribs. And as you exhale, reach over to the left side, looking up underneath the right arm. Any amount is fine. Inhale, keep that length as you come back through center. And then exhale, reach over. And inhale, lift. And then exhale, extend. And lift up through center. And then just go ahead and bring the hands down onto the mat. So go ahead and shift up into a tabletop position. We'll tuck the toes and bring the knees underneath the hips, flattening the feet. Think about opening up through the fingertips, so really clawing down into your mat, staying soft in the elbows. And then again, we're going to lift the tailbone up towards the ceiling, draw the belly down towards the mat, lift the gaze up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, pull the belly button in, round out the spine, tuck the chin in towards the navel. Here we go with your own breath. Inhale, open up the spine, and exhale, round it out. Good, two more here. Inhale, arch and open. And exhale, round. And last one, inhale, arch and open. And exhale, round out the back. Good, coming back through center here. This time, we're going to extend that left heel back towards the back of the mat, pressing through the heel, stretching out the calf slightly. And if you want, you can just bring the hands slightly in front of the chest, just pressing into the palms, pushing that heel back, getting a little calf stretch in here. Keeping your belly button pulled in, activating those abdominal muscles. And release, other side. Right heel presses back, so just starting off very gentle this evening. Pressing through the heel. Sending some air down into that lower body. And gently release. So from here, we're just gonna go ahead and come up onto the knees. Any discomfort underneath, you can always roll up your mat and put a towel down. And we're gonna send the left foot forward and right knee will stay back. So just make sure that your left knee is stacked above the left heel, and then think about dropping your tailbone down towards the mat. Pelvic floor will go up towards the ceiling. So you can almost just imagine this as a bucket of water. So if the bucket of water is full and you tip it forward, the water will dump out. So just think about keeping that pulled in so we can stretch out that front hip flexor. And keep your hands there just to give yourself a little mindfulness. But if you want to, you can also sneak in one more side body stretch. Feel free to take the left hand to the hip. Right arm will extend up towards the ceiling and just gently reach over. So just holding here, a little bit of a balanced pose. Good. Continuously try to push that tailbone down towards the mat. And gently release. From here, take that right hand down to the floor. Now, if you are a little bit tight, you can always put a block underneath the left, or right hand rather. And then think about taking that left hip down towards the mat. We'll keep the left hand in the lower sacrum, drawing our shoulders back, rolling through the ribs, holding here. And then if you want, if it's available today, bring that left arm up towards the ceiling. A couple breaths in. We'll go deeper into this pose later, but right now let's just warm up the joints. Start to get the body moving a little bit. Last deep breath in. And then exhale, take the left hand to the outside of the left foot. So it should be hand, foot, hand. We'll take the right toes and just scooch it back so that we can sink in for the first lunge of the day. Now again, if your hips are a little tight, you can take those blocks and put it on either side of the foot and just sink into it, allowing the floor to come to you rather than pushing down past where your body wants to go. So again, my body's a little tight today, so I might add in these props. So if you can, soften through the shoulders, send some air down into the pelvic floor so you can release any muscle tension that you might be gripping onto. So if you feel yourself pulling the body up in this position, consider grabbing some props just to bring that floor a little bit closer, and then you can melt down and really feel the effects and long-lasting changes of this stretch. So just go ahead, stay here. Taking a few deep breaths in. Maybe with each exhale, just feel that lengthening in the hips and in the hamstrings, inner thighs. Good, last breath in. And on your exhale, we'll just go ahead and press into that left heel, shift the hips back, lengthening the crown of the head forward. You can take your blocks with you. And think about flexing that left foot. So again, if you're pretty flexible today, your body's agreeing with you, you can eliminate the blocks completely. Otherwise, think about having a lifted chest, a flat back, and then hinging from the hips, folding over that front leg. You might be able to go a little bit further back if that's available to you. Otherwise, again, try to find a spot where you're feeling the stretch and then see if you can tap back into the breath. Finding a little bit of stillness, letting the breath do its work with opening and lengthening and relieving. A couple more breaths in through the nose. Keep drawing those shoulders back, keeping that chest up. Last breath in. And then as you exhale, we'll roll that left knee back over the left heel. Once again, we'll send the right hand down to the mat, tuck the right toes. This time, press through the back heel, lift the back quad up. Once you're here, think about drawing the left hip down and we'll bring the left arm up. That was me, sorry guys. Holding here, again, roll through the ribs, so really find the twist in this stretch. Just think about wringing out a towel. Inhale, lift up and lengthen. And then as you exhale, keep pushing and pulling that left hip down. Lifting up that back quad. It's a lot of twisting motions going on here, but just keep finding motion in your breath and in the body. Last one, in. And then exhale. We will drop the right knee back down. So for this next one, if it's not available for you, I will show an alternate posture. Otherwise, we're going to see if we can bend the back knee, reach back with the left hand, and grab onto the foot for a quad stretch. Now this is a pretty intense stretch, so if you're not quite here yet, that's okay. An alternate is you can always go against a wall, put your foot against the wall, and back up into it. Another option is you can always do this standing, or you can eliminate this completely if you want to and we will come into deeper quad stretches later. So otherwise, just stay here, roll the ribs back, push your foot into your hand, and if you also have a strap or a belt at home, you can always loop that around your foot and pull it in for a stretch just to assist there. So again, deep breath in. Exhale. Your left knee might travel out, so try to keep that close to the body. One more breath in. And exhale. Now without letting your foot snap away from you, just gently release, place it back down. And then we will take our left hand to the inside of the foot, so it should be foot, hand, hand. And we're gonna take that left leg back and just roll it out. So lubricating up the joints a little bit, releasing all that pressure that we put on it. We did a lot of deep stretching there, so just go ahead and roll out the hip. And then release down. So go ahead and just shake out those hips side to side. We're gonna switch sides. So our right foot is gonna come to the top of the mat. We're gonna start with that hip flexor stretch. So coming back up, again, envision that bucket of water. We're gonna drop the tailbone down, pull the belly button in, stretching out that front hip flexor. And you can keep the hands on the hips or the hands on the pelvic floor, just as a little bit of a memory tip for yourself. Holding here. Good, again, and just envision a string at the front of the pelvic bone and the back of the tailbone. So the tailbone string is pulling down towards the mat as the pelvic bone is pulling up towards the ceiling. So again, any tension underneath that left knee, you can put a towel underneath just for some extra support. And last breath in here. Now just see if you can hold this position. So again, we're doing a lot of holding today, really repairing and focusing a little bit more on the connective tissue and deep stretching. So we're letting go of that muscling through posture so we can get to the good stuff. So right hand can come to the hip, left arm is gonna come up to the ceiling and just lift and lengthen over. So getting a lot of good stretching it down that side body all the way in to the leg. Holding here, and if you feel like you're a little off balance today, you can always use a prop. One more breath in. This actually feels really good. Let's stay here for one more breath. Good, and then gently release. We'll take that left arm down to the mat and twist the right arm up towards the ceiling. So you might want to keep your right hand on the hip depending what feels good today. Otherwise, just stay here. Think about wringing out the towel, towel being your ribs, rolling it up towards the ceiling, lifting and opening up. Couple breaths. Keep pushing that right hip down towards the floor, so constantly making these micro movements. And then exhale, take that right hand down. So when you're ready, we're going to come into that extended lunge. So take your left foot, we'll scooch it back any amount, sink in here. Again, use your props as necessary. Now, you might not need these, but they are nice to have. And if you don't have these at home, just always remember you can grab a couple couch pillows or pillows off your bed to use. So we don't want to put too much pressure on the blocks or pillows or props that you're using. So again, they're just there as a guide, so just keep that in mind. And then try to soften down through the hips. See if you can relax and release some tension in the upper body, staying soft here. And then when you get to that edge, your edge today, where you feel like you can stay for a couple breaths, see if you can dive back in to your inhales and exhales and let that do its work down in the lower body. So a couple breaths here. Staying soft in the inner thighs. Good. Last breath in. And exhale out. So just go ahead ahead and we'll bring our gaze off the tip of the nose, press into the heel and begin to shift the hips back as the crown of the head lengthens forward, flexing the foot. And then just think about sitting your hips down towards the heels. Hands can stay on the blocks, or again, if you're feeling flexible, you can keep the fingertips down. If you feel the upper body rounding it all, again, just consider grabbing some props today so we can do a little bit more holding and really get into those deep stretches. Holding here. With each inhale, think about lengthening out that hamstring, creating that space. Couple more breaths in. And your exhale, see if you can go just a hair deeper. So staying active again, not just torturing ourselves through these stretches. And inhale, looking up towards the top of the mat. We'll roll the right knee back over the right heel. Tucking the left toes, press through that back heel, lifting up the back quad. Left hand will come back down. And bring your right arm either up to the ceiling or the lower sacrum, just on the lower back. And then think about taking that right hip down towards the floor. Holding here, rolling open those ribs. A few deep breaths in. And your inhale is really reaching towards the ceiling, and as you exhale, twisting open. And then just go ahead and release down. So dropping our left knee back to the mat. Again, this is where you can grab a strap or even a belt or even a dog leash works fine. So we'll bend that back knee. See if you can reach back with the right hand, grabbing onto that foot. And if you experience a cramp in the quad, that's okay. That's actually pretty normal to happen, so don't be alarmed. You can just come out of it, shake it off, come right back into it. And again, if this is not available for you today, we will work on some different postures for the quads later as well. So pressing your foot into the hand, rolling the shoulder back, lifting up through the ribs. Getting that stretch in the front of the leg. Last deep breath in. Exhale out. Good. Go ahead and softly release. We'll take our right hand back down and just rolling out that hip a little bit. So go ahead and send that hip back and we'll roll it out a few times. And just making sure we go both ways, clockwise and then counterclockwise. And then just go ahead and release down. So from here, we're gonna work our way into a downward facing dog. So when you're ready, go ahead and tuck the toes, begin to lift the knees up off the mat, and then press the thighs, press the chest into the thighs, stretching out that upper body, keeping a deep bend in the knees. Just go ahead and straighten just that right leg, pressing the heel towards the back of the mat. And then as you exhale, switch. So bend the right knee, straighten the left. And then just continue to pedal out the legs. So bending and straightening the knees, rocking out the hips side to side. Think about actively pushing your chest down towards the mat. And then bending both knees, press back through both heels, working your way into a full downward facing dog. So staying here for a few active breaths in through the nose and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Last deep breath in and sigh it out. And inhale. inhale, looking up towards the hands. We'll bend the knees and just walk, step, or even lightly hop to the top of the mat. I'm just gonna tiptoe my way up and then come into a forward fold. So relaxing the neck. If the hips are a little tight, you can always bring the feet a little bit wider to the mat. Otherwise, feel free to keep a deep bend in the knees. This is a little bit of muscle recovery yoga today. Feel free to take opposite hands to opposite elbows and just come into hanging ragdoll, twisting it out side to side, maybe gently bouncing it up and down. But remember to keep the neck nice and relaxed. So if you find yourself looking up slightly, which we tend to do, just remember that the neck is part of the spine, so just go ahead and drop that neck, release it down, shake it up and down, yes and no, just letting it hang out there. One more breath in here. And then exhale, release the hands down. So keeping those knees deeply bent, we'll keep the right knee bent, plant the right hand, straighten the left leg, and twist the left hand up again, either to the sacrum, or you can take that left arm all the way up to the ceiling. So we're gonna work on a little bit of the IT band here, which comes down from the hip and goes across the knees. So we'll get there in a minute. We're just gonna warm up some more muscles. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, windmill the left hand down. Bending the left knee, straighten the right leg, twist the right arm up towards the ceiling. Again, rolling open. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And exhale, drop that right hand down. Good. One more time with hanging ragdoll, completely surrendering that upper body. This is a good spot to think about having a string attached to the tailbone. So tailbone is really lifting up towards the ceiling as your heels are stamped down in your mat. And one more breath in. And then exhale, release the hands down. Good. So go ahead and bend the knees. We'll press into the heels and roll the spine up one vertebrae at a time, allowing the shoulders to roll over the hips and the hips to roll over the heels. Coming up into Tadasana, hands will come down by the side, shoulders roll back, chest is lifted, chin is parallel to the floor. So just taking a minute here. And then go ahead and inhale the arms up, just getting a full body stretch. So interlacing the fingers, press the palms up towards the ceiling, and just build a little length between the ribs. And then if you want, press the hips forward, arch back. And then as you exhale, take the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers, roll shoulders, pressing the hands up, coming into a forward fold. So we're gonna do a couple rounds of that, forward folds and back bends. So inhale, release the hands, we'll roll it up, interlacing the hands at the top, press the palms up, arch back. And then roll the hands behind the back again, interlace the fingers, forward fold. Exhale here. And then inhale, let the hands slide down the back, roll it all the way up. We'll come back up to the top last time. And then exhale, take it all the way back down to the floor. Relaxing here. Maybe this time, taking a new variation, feel free to grab the back of the calves and just gently pull the head in towards the legs. Holding here. Again, keep thinking about lengthening out the back of the spine. And release. We'll take the hands to the hips. This time bend the knees, press into the heels, flat back, come all the way up. Good, so from here, working a little bit more in the IT band, we'll take the left foot, step it behind the right, and think about staying on the outer edge of the foot. So if this was my foot, the foot is flat, you're just going to tip on the outer edge of it so that the bottom of the foot is now facing outwards. And then from here, take your right arm, we'll extend it up towards the ceiling, press your right hips to the right, your right hip to the right, and then just lift and lengthen over to the side. So again, getting a nice little side body stretch along with that IT band, holding here. Good. center. And then exhale, flatten your foot, and we'll come into a forward fold. So stretching it out, pressing the heels down into the floor. Good, and then from here, think about just walking over to the left side, keeping the feet where they are, but just a little bit of stretching and strengthening here. So walking the fingertips over to the left side of the mat, push down through the feet, and back through center. Okay, go ahead and unravel those legs, walk it out, bend and straighten the knees, hands to the hips, bend the knees, once again pushing the heels flat back, come all the way up. Good, inhale the arms up, and exhale out. Good, switching sides. So from here, we'll take the right foot behind the left, again, coming onto the outer edge of the foot, opening up that foot. Inhale, this time we'll take the left hand up to the ceiling. Your left hip will push to the left side and reach up and over, stretching out through that side body. Staying here, maybe looking up underneath that left arm if that's available. You can gently use that right hand to just push the hips open. And inhale, reach up. Go ahead and flatten that foot and reach down, forward fold. Relaxing through the head. And when you're ready to go, just go ahead and walk the hands over to the right side, stretching it out, pressing the heels down. And back through center. Go ahead and unwind those legs and just pedal it out back and forth. So when you're ready, inhale, halfway rise, hands to shins, Urdhva Uttanasana. We'll keep the belly button pulled in, shoulders are pulled back. Last deep breath in. And then exhale, forward fold. Get a little gentle vinyasa here. So go ahead and step the feet back into a high plank. We'll hold here for a minute. You're always welcome to drop down to the knees just to modify. But otherwise, if you do want to build a little bit of heat within the body, just go ahead and keep those toes tucked. Keep that belly button in, quads lifted, and then a lower down chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Lift up through the chest, draw the shoulders back. Chin comes parallel. And then exhale, drop the knees down, push back, child's pose. We'll take a little bit of a break. And then reaching, giving the spine a small break. And a bit of a surrendering pose here. And last breath in. And then exhale, let's roll it back up. Tuck the toes, press through the heels, downward facing dog. Good. When you're ready, we're gonna lift the left leg high to the ceiling. Now, in these poses, your left shoulder might also rise up. So see if you can keep your shoulders square down to the mat. But we're gonna bend the left knee, flex the foot, and then stack the hip. So see if you can roll your left hip on top of the right without lifting that left shoulder up as well. So just continuously draw the left shoulder down as that knee lifts up, holding here, finding that opening. And then just begin to draw circles with the knee. So rolling it open, lifting it up to the ceiling. Last deep breath in, really reach, reach, reach. And then listen carefully. We're going to bring that left knee over to the right elbow. And then extend that left leg through. So just holding here, taking a couple deep breaths. It's a little bit of a strength building posture right here. I'll move these so you can see. And then from here, drop onto the outer edge of your right foot. So the back foot is now on the back edge, and we'll just bring the hips down. So a little bit of a lifting motion here. So right arm will come up to the ceiling, pressing into the outer edges of both feet. We'll just lift the hips up, and exhale, lower down. Good, inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower. One more time, inhale, pressing into the outer edges of the feet, lift up. And then exhale, high plank. Good, down dog. So again, we're building a little bit of fire today, shifting through those hips. Right leg will rise, bend the knee, flex the foot, stack the hips. Be mindful to keep that right shoulder drawing down, and then begin to roll out the knee. A few times one way, and then a few times the other. Lift it up nice and high, then look up towards the fingers. We'll draw the knee towards the left elbow this time and extend it through. So dropping onto the outer edges of the foot, remember, just like we did when we were standing, and we'll drop the hips down. So modify any way you need to. I should have said that on the other side. You can always bend that back knee and just lift up any amount that feels good for you. So otherwise, lift up through the hips, left arm will come up and over. And then go ahead and draw it down. And again, inhale, lift up and over. Exhale, lower down. One more time, inhale. And then exhale, reset through center. Good, drop down to the knees. We'll do a gentle vinyasa. Lower all the way to the floor. Inhale, up cobra, so thighs will stay down. And then exhale, child's pose. So I know that one was a little bit of work, but it's all good stuff for the hips. So again, a deep breath in here. And exhale out. Okay, from here, we'll roll the body back up through tabletop, tuck the toes downward facing. And then when you're ready, just go ahead and walk, step, or hop top of the mat. Inhale, halfway rise. Exhale through fold. Good, and roll it up one vertebrae at a time. Tadasana, hands come up above the head, lift up. And exhale, hands through heart center. So just getting a little bit of a break now. We're going to stretch more into the hamstrings. So if you need your blocks here, you can go ahead and grab your blocks. We're going to set them up the tall way to start on either side. Again, if you don't have these at home, it's not necessary. It's just a useful tool to have. So right foot will come forward, left foot will take a medium step back. Now, in this posture, pyramid posture, you want to imagine that you're stepping on either side of a small toy train track. Both feet are going to face 12 o'clock. So what we want to avoid is stepping on a tight rope. So if you're walking on a tight rope, one foot is directly behind the other. We want to avoid that. We want to create that space within the hips. So again, just imagine that small little toy train track that you're stepping on either side. Keeping those hips square, so bring your left hip up to meet the right. If you need to put a small bend in the knee, that's okay. Otherwise, we're gonna bring the arms up, hinge the hips back, and then that's when your hands can come down and find your blocks. So actively push down through the heels, and we'll stay here for a stretch in the hamstrings. Now, depending on your flexibility or your range of motion, you might need to come up a little higher on the blocks, or if you're feeling very flexible, you might be able to eliminate them completely. And if you don't have blocks at home and you are very tight, you can always keep your hands on the thigh. Try not to put too much weight on the thigh. Think about more pressing down through the heel and then pulling the hips back. So let's stay here for a couple breaths. Again, the breath is a very powerful tool to use when you're stretching out in yoga, your pranayama, your breath work. So the more that you can use the breath to kind of relax the surrounding muscles, the more you'll be able to tap in and build that flexibility. From here, go ahead and plant your right hand, and we're going to just twist the left arm up to that lower sacrum once again, and pull through that inner thigh. So you can stay right here. You don't have to go any further. If you want to take the arm up, you can. I'm feeling a little bit more relaxed here today. So again, this is your practice. You can make it how you want. From here, think about pulling that left hip up towards the ceiling. So it's constant push, pull. I know I say that a lot in these practices, but just get your mind actively moving and thinking. And one more breath here. And then exhale. We'll take the left hand back down and then allow yourself to just surrender. So allow the upper body to fold over the knee or over the leg. And just take a couple breaths here. And last breath in. And then exhale, we will come up halfway. So you can take your hands back to the blocks if you have them. And then take the hands to the hips, push down through that right heel, take it all the way up. Good, step the left foot forward, shake out the hips side to side. It's a pretty deep stretch into the hamstrings, and we will switch sides. So taking a medium step back with the right foot, setting up the same way we set up on the other side, both feet facing at 12 o'clock. Again, little train track. Inhaling the arms up, and try to do this one without the hands. We'll pull the left hip back, right hip comes forward. Hinge forward, find those blocks. Again, if you need to put a small bend into the knee, depending on how tight you are, my muscles are very tight today, so that's why I'm adding in these props. So just take a couple mindful breaths here. Again, we want to flat back, we want to actively hinge the hips towards the back of the mat. You might notice that one side is a little tighter than the other, so that can happen sometimes, and that's okay. So if you do have one side that is significantly tighter than the other, a nice little tip is just hold on to that side a little longer. So if you need to pause the video and enjoy the stretch a little bit more, that's all right. From here, we'll plant the left hand either on the quad or on your prop, twisting the right arm up to the lower sacrum. Again, you can adjust here if you want to take that right arm up. Mine felt a little bit good on my lower back. I'm using my thumb to push into my lower spine, just to give myself a little massage, and just hold here. Again, find that stretch in the inner thigh, lower groin, and just start to tap back into your breath. And last deep breath in. And then exhale. Roll it down and allow yourself to surrender, forward fold. Pressing down into the feet, lifting your tailbone up any small amount just to see if you can get any little extra stretches, bonus stretches. And then let's come up halfway, flat back, hands to the hips, come all the way up. Step it forward and shake out the hips. So go ahead and take another inhale, lift up. And then as you exhale, forward fold. So coming all the way down. Inhale, halfway rise. Back through fold. And then bend the knees again, look forward. We'll take a giant step back with the left foot. We're coming into our final stretches. So we're gonna drop the left knee down to the floor, flatten the foot, and then take your hands to the inside. So from here, heel toe your right foot open, almost to the edge of the mat. And we'll just come onto the outer edge once again of that foot. So coming right onto that outer edge of the foot, holding here. Now, if you want, you can come down to the elbows if you're feeling that flexibility, or you can always use your props and bring your elbows down on those props. So we want to hold here for a few breaths. If you feel yourself fidgeting in this pose, consider grabbing a couple pillows and just stacking them up so you can rest your arms down. And if you want, you can always flatten that foot too if that's feeling a little discomforting for you today. Otherwise, stay here, and take a few breaths in. Allowing that inner hip to begin to open up. Last breath in here. And exhale. If you're on your forearms, go ahead and come back up to the hands. Staying here, we'll sink into, it's a little bit of a wider lunge. So keeping that foot flat. Staying here again, just opening up through that hip, thinking about lifting up through the chest. And then we'll switch sides. So wring out that leg, we'll bring it behind, roll it out any amount, any which way that feels good. And take the opposite leg forward. So bringing that left leg forward, we'll heel toe it off the mat, coming onto the outer edge. You're gonna take your right foot, scooch it back. And then if you want to, you can gently come down onto the elbows. Just again, being mindful that each side will be a little bit different. So remember to honor your limitations. If one side does something that the other side isn't quite ready to do yet today, that's okay. You can build up into that within your practice at home. So just taking a few breaths in. Staying soft in the hips, soft in the back of the neck. A lot of times we tend to grip in the forehead and in the face. So just notice where you're holding that tension and see if you can let that go. And last deep breath in here. And then if you're down on your elbows, let's go ahead and come back up to the hands. We'll flatten that foot and just come into that wide, open-hipped lunge. So you can stay here, allowing that inner groin area to open up. Last breath in. And then exhale. Let's wring it out. So bringing the hands back down. We'll roll out that leg. So any motion that feels good, just go ahead and get out any snap, crackle, or pops that you need to. Coming into pigeon pose. So we have two postures left before we complete this practice. So from here, we're again going to tuck the toes, set up. Pressing back, go ahead and lift the right leg up, and we're going to bend the knee, bring it halfway up the mat, and just go ahead and drop it down. So if you are a little bit more deeper into your practice, you can always take that leg parallel. Otherwise, we're just going to come down and rest here. If you have a pillow or a block, you might want to rest your forehead down just to add a little extra support, or tap into that third eye, and then relax here. And letting gravity do its work, just sinking down. Last deep breath in. And then as you exhale, let's walk the hands back up, holding here, just holding here for a moment, enjoying the stretch. And switching sides, go ahead and tuck the left toes, lift up through the back heel, send the right leg back, stretch it out in a down dog, and then bring that left leg forward. So dropping down, heel toeing your right foot back any amount, and then once again setting up on your block, or you can always just bring your forehead down to the mat and relax here. Taking some deep belly breaths in through the nose, filling up the lungs, the chest, the ribs, and the belly. And exhaling out. Last breath in. And as you exhale, walk the hands in towards the body. So lifting up here, holding. And then just go ahead and drop over onto that left hip. We'll draw the right leg forward. So bringing both legs forward, releasing the flesh nice and flat to the floor, flexing through the heels. Again, if you have any props today, maybe consider putting one underneath the knees. This will help to open up the lower spine as well. And then inhale the arms up towards the ceiling, exhale, forward fold over the legs. Holding here, allowing the head to drop down. Inhale, lengthen, and then exhale, fold. So just taking a couple breaths. You can always hold on to the big toes with pointer finger, middle finger, and pull the body in. So really whatever's feeling good for you. Go ahead and release. We'll walk the hands back up. Gently release your block if you have one. And we're just going to come all the way down onto the floor. So scooching towards the top of the mat, go ahead and roll back. We'll pull the knees into the chest to release the lower back and just rock it out side to side, stretching it out. From here, go ahead and drop your right foot down to the floor, cross the left leg over. Then you can take your left hand, gently press open on the hip. Right arm can come up and overhead. And if you want to, feel free to guide that left foot down to the mat. And the right arm can come back down. Once that left arm can open up to the side. Back through center. Other side, left foot will come down on the ground. Right foot crosses over. You can take your right hand, gently press open on the thigh as the left arm comes up overhead. And then just guide your right foot down to the left side. Left hand can come down for support. Right arm will open up to the side. Now from here, because we're doing some hips and hamstrings, we're going to take it easy on our final poses today. So whatever feels good, if you really want to do your headstand, handstand, shoulder stand, wheel, bridge, or plat pose, you're welcome to come into any one of those. Otherwise, we're going to take a happy baby tonight. So if you have a strap, you can always use a strap, but we're just going to bring our hands to the insides of the feet and then gently begin to pull down. So you want to try to pull your knee down towards the mat. It's crucial to try to keep those heels going up towards the ceiling and just pull down, opening here. Now, depending on your flexibility, you may be able to straighten one leg and tap side to side. My legs are not going to do that today, so I won't even attempt that. So just go ahead. You can stay here. Think about drawing your tailbone and lower back into the mat, holding here. Now if you have a partner at home, you can always have them push down on your feet. It is a nice little gentle assist. Just make sure you have a safe word because this one's a pretty intense one and it is possible to go too deep into this one and pull a hamstring and we don't want that. So just go ahead and take a deep breath in, pull, pull, pull. And then exhale. exhale, gently release it all out on the mat. Shake out those legs. Arms can come up overhead, reaching fingertip to toe tip. And side out. Taking the hands down by the sides. You can go ahead and close the eyes. And just start to let all your muscles and bones and just the weight of your body start to melt down. Letting go of the tension in the legs, letting them and allowing them to be heavy. So if you notice you're gripping anywhere, just go ahead and release. Soften the back of the neck. Soften the muscles in the face. So just giving our body a minute to recover. And just go ahead and let the only movement in the body be the breath, the rise and fall of the chest. Starting to just rock out the neck gently side to side. Feeling the fingers and the toes. And bringing the arms back up overhead, just reaching fingertip to toe tip. Getting in one last full body stretch. And then as you exhale, go ahead and draw the knees back in for a squeeze. You can stay here and enjoy this a little bit longer if you'd like, or you can start to just rock and roll back and forth, massaging out the back of the spine until you come up into a comfortable seated position. Bringing the hands on top of the thighs, just go ahead and roll out the neck any way that feels good. And then keeping that heart lifted, we'll take the hands to heart center. Thumbs will point at the chest as the eyes look down at the fingertips. Taking a deep breath in through the nose. And sigh it out. And again, a deep breath in. Sigh it out. And last one, taking the deepest breath in, filling up with this new vital energy. And then exhale out any stress, negativity, or anything that no longer serves you. Thank you guys so much for joining today's Hips and Hamstrings Yoga. We will be back next week with Barre. I hope everyone has a wonderful, happy week.